G'day and welcome to this second and final video of the Garage Bangers. Here's the worst of the two, doing a couple of donuts. Took it out, got a GoPro stuck to it and took a bit of footage. So at the end in the titles I'll talk a little bit about what's going on with the rest of the real cars. But for now I hope you enjoy. Right, I found a Mini and I've also got my beloved cup of tea. This is just a thing I bought years ago as a shelf display type thing, and then worked out it never room, so it sat in a box. Oops. It's not been driven much, and the driving it did was without the shell on it. Now a couple of things. I always use those plastic bearings as spacers, or at least I did on this car anyway. Now the thing I did with it when I got it was I used it, well, the first thing I did was change all the bearings out when I built it, so it's all ball raced and dirty. You can see how mucked up it is, and that's just from sitting on shelves, that sort of stuff. Apparently I've been doing a bit of reading, I don't know much about these. Apparently this TEU 101BK speed control is fine to use with a sport tune, or at least that's what I've always done. The new replacements, which are around the same price, $35, which is about what you would pay for these back then, sort of top out at a torque tune. They're not quite as powerful as those. All the cars that I used, I put those in, and ball bearings. They're the two modifications I always did to them. And so the standard engines were never in the ones that I used. It's got a Futaba receiver there, but I don't remember what happened to the, what do you call it? The transmitter. I just don't remember. The trouble with these is you go forward then hit reverse quickly and they actually flip over, and at least that's what I found with it. So it's only a very cheap thing. I think this was $195 when I bought it, and they're about the same now, I think, if you can find them. So that's a little Mini. What I thought about doing with it to drive it around is using these wheels which I had. They're totally incompatible with the Thundershot, but I thought, you know, they've got the same hex type fitting in the back of them, so they can be fine with this, although slightly bigger wheel, therefore bigger tyre, it'll hit the body. But for driving around, for display, you just use these old wheels, which are replica Mini lights. But the other ones will be fine for, that's a bit of play, fine for just thrashing the thing around. So, you know, that's it, that's the Mini. The one thing that I'm a bit sort of bemused, I guess, is it's got all-filled shocks in the front, and you've got these things at the back, which are just those rubbish pogo stick, I don't know what you call them. That's likely to skip around. I would have thought, and the spring rate's very, very hard, I would have thought the best thing, as in a real vehicle, is using soft springs with a sway bar. So anyway, I'm just going to pop this back on and we'll talk about the other stuff. Right, so as far as these garage bangers are concerned, I used the new tub on this one and put the rear together. I haven't got oil in it. The one, pardon me, that I run around and do a little demo on and smash it up, which won't be intentional, it'll be because I'm a bad driver, I will use the other one with one of the broken chassis with a repair done to it, and I'll fill the oil shocks and all that sort of stuff. These aren't filled. I have noticed over years of sitting there, they do sweat after a while. They're those wheels that ended up being, all the gold came off. And I think they're fine, I'll just get some tyres. There's a UK seller that's pretty good with that sort of stuff anyway. This one being sort of a kind of display model kind of thing, I'll put the original speed controller back in. That thing's fairly clagged up. I'd be inclined to hit that with a bit of CRC, hit it with a toothbrush to clean off that way, maybe a bit of Scotch-Brite on the terminals, and that'll come up like new. I wouldn't be sticking it in water, and again, because I'm doing real cars, I restore the real cars and bikes and stuff, I do have an electroplater, so I wouldn't take any effort just to stick these things on a string when I take it to the plater. So I've got one lot of stuff I'm picking up on Thursday, so I can do that as well. So that's that one there. The only problem I've got is both front gearboxes are shagged, which is not real good. There's a sport tune. This is all ball raced as well, so it's going to be cool. So I've really got to kind of look at what I'm doing with them. So I'll need a couple of gearboxes. There's the munted body off the Thunder Dragon, which is the one I bought off eBay for $50 or something all those years ago. It's a genuine body. And the guy didn't do a bad job, I guess. We have got a split there. I reckon the best thing to fix that is just a small piece of aluminium tape, which we'll get some and we'll stick it on there. Aluminium tape will form properly to the curves and that sort of stuff, and it'll hold it quite well. And we'll wash that up and just see how it comes up. I do want to, what do you call it? Experiment with making a body. I've found that a lot of the Tamiya stuff on the internet is extremely expensive. I found a Futaba receiver that was in one of them, an electronic speed controller. So we'll use that combo with that servo on the banger, which will be that Thunder Dragon, which we'll drive around. And it's already got, we'll use this sport tune as well, and it's a little bit, yeah, like that. Interestingly, the sport tunes you get now are all silver can. The black ones seem to be a little bit more expensive because they're no longer produced and people think they're worth $1 million, but they're not. I think new these are about the same price as what they are now at about 35 or 40 bucks. And we've also found these batteries, which I reckon will be munted in 25,000 big ways. I have got a quick charger, which is apparently only suitable for a 1200 milliamp hour. I doubt these are going to be functional. That was one I bought a while ago. That's that Venom thing, which is an 1800 milliamp hour. So we'll strap that across a car battery with that quick charger and just see what happens. I might get 1 minute of play. I might get none. I don't know. I'm not an RC driver. I've never raced. I've never been interested in that sort of thing. Although I did watch it, I was more sort of interested in building them and fiddling around with them and just taking them up and down the drive to see how they go. Oh gosh. Right, here I am back in the study and ready to do some assembly, but I can't remember how it goes. I'm never going to tell you I know what I'm doing because I freaking don't. Right, what are we doing with this? Servos for speed controller. Which way does the speed controller go on that? Go that way? I think it does. And then you've got this little slipper bracket here, so that bracket would go kind of like that. Need a short one. Use this one. I'll get this washer. Charlie's calling the dog. The dog is so naughty. It's ridiculously naughty. I need the other washers. I need a smaller one. I've got some instructions somewhere for one of these things, and do you think I can find them? I haven't really looked that hard because I can kind of remember how they all go. Particularly when you pull it apart, you see which fasteners go where, how long they are, and all this business. I find that I'm used to doing full-size mechanical stuff. I even did a bunch of lawnmowers, and you kind of think, you know, you kind of find yourself fumbling a bit. Anyway, I'm not going to fumble anymore. I'm going to just stick that in there and leave it slightly loose so it can slip and slide around. I clean this off with, what do you call it? I'm going to put washers under those too. With a toothbrush. I didn't bother using CRC. I just thought, nah, you know what? Life's good. I hope these aren't too long, these ones. You have to use short ones here as well. Well, it's going in. I can nip that one up. And yeah, that's right. I kind of dig doing this, you know what I mean? It's nice. It's a nice change. And particularly the weather's just been so bad that, you know, I'm really kind of enjoying this. Right, now, this little bloke goes in the car with these, where is the car? Where's the bloody car? Oh, there it is. With these funky long screws. Kind of sits like that, and then you've got these ones with a shank on them, kind of, yeah, you get the picture. And the people watching this stuff have probably done this 50 times more than I have, and know 50 times more than I do. Hang on, that little battery eliminator thing's in the way. Oh, goodness me. I might just see if I've got a better cover for that resistor. That does look quite mangy. Alright. Okie dokie. Lovely. I don't even know which way these wires go, but we're just going to do this. We're going to go Green to red? Is that right? Nope. Maybe green to black. No idea. Absolutely no idea. And we can just cable tie that little black down. The other thing is, I was watching an American guy doing a tool review, and for this project we're going to be using full automotive tools. Like my Knipex side cutters, my favourite tool. And this guy was calling him Knipex, which is probably the way to say it, but it just annoyed me. It's like saying, do you like my knob? I don't know. Each different strokes. But anyway, these things I've had for 25 years at least. They're German, and you can get a piece of paper, right? And I've thrashed these. I've cut through hardened steel and all sorts of things with these, and you can get a bit of paper and just cut it off. Like, they're absolutely great. That's Knipex for you. And he based his comparison on some funny tests, and I just thought, well, is that real world? Anyway, let's have a look at this little guy. Oh, no, stuff it. Let's put the steering servo in. Steering servo has two little pylon guys. Little friggin' those things. Being steering, I'm going to put full-size screws through it. I think they go in there. I used to love doing this crap when I was younger. And these, I don't even know where I got this radio gear. I don't know how good or bad it is. No clue. Should I do that diagonally across? Or use two? No, I'll just do it at the top. Okie dokie. And this little blade goes through the floor. Down there and connects up with the steering. Okie dokie. Where's the hole? I can't see the hole. Yes, I can. There it is. Just to reinforce it and spread a bit of load. That's the idea of washers, particularly in this application. And I'm using nice long fasteners too. That washer might be the wrong size, but yeah, it seemed to go in fairly well. And so I'll pop it over this side as well. So the steering servo's got a little bit of duress on it because of the job it does and the force that's applied when you go flying around corners. So again, you would lubricate this stuff. Oh, I'm not, because this is just going to sit on a shelf. God damn, get on there, you son of a gun. There you go. Sweet. Your receiver would normally sit there. I hate untidy wiring. I'm like this with the cars, and that's why I love Japanese cars, because everything's just so neat. If you've ever worked on a Jag, a Series 2 or whatever Jag, 1, 2, 3, XJ40, they're all very similar in some ways, then you'll know what I'm talking about, because they're horrendously badly wired, or at least untidily wired. And yet you get an old Toyota for $100, and it's wired so nicely. So I'm just going to, well, I've always been fussy about that sort of thing, so I'm just using cable tie to make, I can't see, that's my problem, I think it's terrible. So, yeah, I thought it was full of poo. Anyway, what we'll do, I'm just going to glue those down, or a bit of double-sided. That would be where your receiver goes. You could just hide these little spools down there. It's going to look neater, I just like it like that, right? But that's all good. They're binding a little bit. There's no oil, at least that's binding, because there's something wrong with it, I think. I'm not sure. But this one here seems smooth. But again, I've got no oil in them. Right, so I keep finding bits and pieces. I just opened this little guy up here, and it's got all these tiny little clips that you use for the suspension arms and body shell clips, and I don't know what that is, and I don't know what that is. And look, a new, ooh, what's that? Oh, that's a grub screw for a motor pinion. A new speed controller, snazzy rod, so I'm going to put that on. And all these ball joint things. Now, I never bothered with sway bars on these things. I just thought, yeah, what's the point? But I've got a brand new sway bar and everything for it. And I just thought, well, the heck with it, I'm going to do it. And the other thing I found in here, and it's in here, look at this, all new joint bits and pieces. Those always break. That holds the shell in the front. And a set of little, what do you call them, wheel bits, pins, and a whole lot of screws, and just all brand new kit. And it's all from just old models, and you know, I go in and out of hobbies and models and stuff, and that's why I'm doing this. It's a lovely little change from what I normally do, and I kind of dig it. So what I've got to do is I've got to pull apart this gear bag. Well, I did pull it apart and I sort of threw it back together, but I'm going to grease this next one up because I'm going to use it in the banger car. Right, so I'm just looking at some hubs and joints and stuff like that. I've got one here. Is this the one? Yeah, big crack in it. I do have some spares. I've got about 3 or 4 of those. So we can take that out and a little ball jointy thing. And we can right shoulder this, which means bin the thing. Which way is it going? It's going underneath that way. So that's knackered. So bin. And then just put the ball joint in here. So yeah, I mean that's just because of all the savage front ends collisions I've had. But not just that, these things are so, that I've found is very brittle on these things. It's pretty ludicrous actually. Am I going to cut myself? No, we don't want to cut ourselves. Maybe we'll do it the other way. Maybe we'll even use a sharp blade. That would be a novel approach, wouldn't it? Oh my god, that's nice. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So all I'm going to do, I've checked all these bearings out, they're quite spiffy, is throw a bearing in and get one of these little half shaft guys and just use that as a guide to pushing the bearing in and thumb the bearing in from this side. Right, so that goes in the back. We just get a little freaking doodah like that to hold it in. And where's my, oh there, I've got a bunch of these too. I need one more of these actually. And just tighten them up and you're good to go. And the arms and all that sort of stuff can go on. But the ball races just make it so much better. They're just better all day, every day. They're brilliant. Oh, and we also pop an O-ring in the bottom. And that what that does is it creates a cushion for these little doggy bones. Oh, look at that. The best thing to use are the uni joints, but I don't have them. I've only got these guys. So, it's all good. Right. I'm back. Now, a couple of things. I've just moved that out of the way. I've put this rear gearbox together, except the front wheel drive thing. I found one of the drive shafts. I'm missing one. I thought I was missing 2, but there's one there, which is good. I thought I was going to be doing this in 2-wheel drive. Now, this is a mess. And the reason it's a mess is because this casing's broken. And it's broken here on the mount. Now, I was originally going to put, I've just glued a little bit on, a steel brace down here, but that drive casing is going to be in the way. It sort of fits right snug in there, if you know what I mean. And also, when you put that on, it gives it a bit of extra thickness, if you know what I mean. Or at least, there's a small thing there I can grind down to allow the thickness of the steel when I put it in there. I can't because this thing brings it out to that thickness anyhow. If I can figure out how that goes. Like that. So once that's on, you don't gain any room. So that means I'm going to have to brace it on the outside. Just a bit of black paint. It doesn't matter, this is a banger. We're just going to put it together as best we can and see if we can take it for a drive. The other thing is, the other casing I've got here is broken there. And that's for the large pivot that goes through for the control arm. I need 2 gearboxes, 2 front gearboxes, but I'm only going to get 1 for the other car. This is a banger, so yeah, it doesn't matter. And that arm is also routed there, this one here. I might not get away with that. That one seems alright in terms of clearances. This one all over the shop because it's just distorted too much. So that's where we're up to at the moment. I can continue putting this together, which I'll do in a minute. This thing here, I've got to put the gear sets inside. So if I loosen those two, oh, the other thing is, that was knackered. That fitted in under there, but this was the other way around. If I turn that around to give this a better, to keep it more in line, because I think that's why that other thing might have broken, but that will fit behind those split pins, if you know what I mean, but the through bolt's not going to hold it for the front sort of bumper, so I will just literally stick a 2mm hole all the way through and just stick a nut and a bolt. That's all I can do. I mean, I'm trying to do this without buying parts. I will need some parts though, so it doesn't matter, it's all good. Now if I just pop that out, I just don't want to break those things. I might actually ream those out a tiny bit more. That's a close-up of this thing. It's got a couple of black spaces there. It's also got rods with holes through them for the split pins to stop them being able to come out. But as I said, I don't think I can get away with that. That is munted. So yeah, it is what it is. So let's have a look at a couple of things. First, just let me tidy up. Also forgot to mention that there's two screws that go through here. There's one that, you know, holds or helps retain this side of the casing together in that way, and there's one that goes through the chassis tub in like that, and that's the one that's broken. What I'm going to do, I haven't got one though, is I've drilled that all the way through, so it's still quite tight, but fasten and go all the way through, so that can go through the tub, if you know what I mean, and the nut can go on this side and just tighten it up, and that'll give it all the sort of rigidity it needs. This is just making a banger out of whatever's here, and I've got to also, oh, I didn't see that, I'm going to have to glue that. That was one of the ones I thought I'd give up on. Yeah, it's kind of all very, you know, questionably being together. Right, got that together. I do need to, I'll just squeeze these together too, and that will locate, these are dirty, these drive shafts. Is it? I think that's alright. Anyway, we'll find out. Right, so I can't really do too much now with this until I've glued it, so we'll just use a bit of masking tape around here. Jesus, is that cracked as well? Nope, that's alright. Around here, you can literally just stuff the adhesive in there, and because it doesn't stick to this, just make a nice little, and that'll create a dam for it, so it won't go anywhere till it sets, and then we can just drill it from that end, and it'll be fine. As far as the back is concerned, there's a couple of things. There's the anti-crush tubes that we need to put in, which stop the casing getting all damaged when we put the motor in. Let's put that from there, that's easy. And the motor will sit, you've got to do this to a certain measurement. This one I've already set up. I can't remember what the measurement was, 15mm or something, but don't quote me on that. I'm using the long ones because obviously there's a lot of duress on this part. And there's also a rear bumper that mounts on, but I haven't got it. What do we got? These go in with those long things. Where are they? There's one. I'll take that one up that we repaired. I'm looking for the most worn because I'm keeping the others for the good cars. And that just fits in there, and that fits in there. We should put a spot of grease in. And we'll use this one. I'll have to order a pair of these. They're not dear, I don't think, but hang on, which way does this go? That's going to have to go that way. So it's got to push them through those eyelets. This gearbox is made from the two. I've used 2 boxes to make one good one. At least I hope it's a good one. If I break it, that would be rather bad. I went to work today and I was talking to this guy, he's the chaplain, and he runs this program for some of the kids that struggle a bit. And they've got Tamiya RCs there, right? Anyway, I had a look at them, they were TT01 chassis. And I said to him, how many parts have you broken? And he said, not many. And I said, how? He goes, oh, they just don't break. I said, well, I've got one, and it used to break all the time. But then I looked at the TT01, and it's a lot more robust, or at least better engineered, I think. It's different from this. It's more like a road sort of going thing. What have I done? Yeah, that's right. So I was quite surprised with that. I thought, well, that's actually really good. Again, they make their own bodies. I don't want this to friggin' snap because the other one went click when I tightened it, so I'm just going to cinch it up a bit like that. And a bit of grease there. And in you go. And in there too. Something like that. And then we get these, where are they? These guys. That should be lubricated as well. But I was less than thrilled with this because it was clicking, and I thought, it's just like a real car. You know, they click when the CVs are knackered on them. Yeah, it feels like it's binding. I just don't think these are any good. But, well, we're just going to have to go with it. I've got 2 sway bars. I'm going to use this one because it's used and it's manky. And I don't care. I just want it to work, and I had this really good idea. No one's ever done this. Putting a GoPro on an RC car, and then I found out everyone's done it. It ruined my fun. Right, shocker. This one was bent. You can see the spring's still kind of bent, but I'm going to just, whoops. I've got a couple of bits of oil here, and I'm just going to have to fill it up. Whoops. Okay, maybe that's overfilled. Yeah, kind of. Maybe you want to work it a bit, it might come down a bit. That feels actually really good. Right. I've got my hardware ready because I'm just a gun. So that needs to go in there. The spray bar's a pain in the ass. And I'll just get my fat little mechanic fingers around here and nip him up. Yes, we start with a bit of quality cross threading, but then we got it in. Absolutely wonderful. Sweet. All right, look at that. It's starting to look really good. Let's see if this fits. Because it should. I'm not that confident there. Yeah. Go on. Okay, I've gone too far with that. Hang on a minute. Got servo leads and all sorts of crap in the way. And that should fit. Yes, it does. But I've got to get that in. And then I've got to fit it. But I'm going to do it a little differently. So I'm going to use flat washers, which I didn't use before, to try and distribute load. And I've got to get one of these guys all the way into there. And it's a bit of a pain in the ass because I've got to put a nut on the other side. Pretty happy with this. That's all working properly. It feels really good with the sway bar and the single shock. As I said before, I didn't notice any difference with twins with the sway bar. I just left it off. But I've got to put the rears together and some drive shafts. little cup things. I'm nervous about those because they are worn. But that's the modified. There was a broken bit in there. Hang on a minute. One of these. You get modified ones now. And I've just cut, whoops, the top off, made up that aluminium thing to go there, and then bolted it through, if you know what I mean, as well as into the gearbox. I'm going to order a new gearbox tree for the other car, and you know, it is clicky a bit, but I think once it's on the ground with some weight on it, I don't know, I'm hoping it's going to be alright. Well, it's getting there. It's got the wrong shocks in the back, it's got front ones in the back, and it's got this one that was prior damaged. But that should be alright. That repair there should stand up. I've got to pop the receiver in. I think I'm going to put the receiver sort of down in there, maybe. Or this way. That's going to get in the way of the drive shaft, isn't it? Those plugs. We'll see. Right, so I cleaned this one up. This is the old $60 one from eBay years and years ago. It was in the garage. It's pretty munted, but really it's not that bad. It's just got a split here. I've got this aluminium tape for the full-size cars. I can't remember why I bought it, but anyway, I did. I'm just going to cut a bit off and see if that works. And yeah, if it does, that's good. If it doesn't, oh well. It doesn't matter. Where's the split? The split's there. So I'll just peel the backing off. It's pretty sticky stuff, this. Yep, it's really sticky. And I'm just going to pop it in here. I might just take that bit off the bottom. And it should stick like, yes it does. It's really sticky. So, you know, I mean, ideally a crack you would always sort of drill the end of it to stop it spreading, but that I think will do fine. It's not perfect by any stretch, but you know, the whole thing isn't perfect, is it? I don't think it matters. But you can form it to the shape really well, and it takes a lot. You can probably tidy that up with a blade, but that is pretty rigid. Yeah, that's going to be fine. Just iron him down and we're good to go. I thought I'd be individual and put a GoPro on one of these, but everyone's done it. So I've just got to fabricate some brackets, then that will slide in. Maybe it goes the other way. I've virtually never used this thing. Yeah, that's how it goes. So that's the sort of thing, if I put it the right way, that's the sort of thing I want to do. Maybe if I mount it a bit further forward. I don't know. We'll just figure it out. I might just, you know, this is broken up anyway. I might just make some brackets and just screw it on into there, just an L-shaped brackets, just to support it nicely. And we'll take it for a stick. Otherwise, that will just fit on top, like that. I've taken this little bloke out just on the drive, and there's a couple of issues. I forgot to clean that wiring up, and it's sort of threadbare there. Just got to retain that. The antenna's in the way of the GoPro, which I knew that before. I've got to put a screw in there. Where is it there? I wanted to put a sticker where the switch position was because I wasn't sure. And shockers are really, they're too small for the back, so I've got a couple of spaces here to try and bring it up a bit. And what was the other thing? The steering servo wasn't tracking properly, so I've just repositioned that. So we'll see how we go. Let's try this out. We've got the GoPro mounted. We'll just see how this little bunch of junk goes. Right, this turned out to be quite successful, much more than I thought. The battery let it down. The battery is about 16 years old. I think I used it for a week or two, and it's sat in a box ever since. So a new battery would really help it. Plus, I charged it up off a car battery, which was semi-sad with this thing. So, you know, it'd be interesting to see what it's like. Maybe it wouldn't be much quicker. Maybe it just had more longevity. But I'm tipping it. It sort of started off really good, and then it petered off very quickly. The great thing about this, though, the GoPro, I've never used this GoPro before. I bought it years ago and never used it, but the body will actually fit on. I've got the antenna strapped to a body mount, but that all fits through. So that's a real bonus as well. And so it all comes down, and where's the front one? There it is. You know, it's a squeeze, but it does go on. So that's pretty good. You know, it clips in and does everything it's supposed to do. So that was, I think, a lot of fun. So this one's, one thing I didn't show you was the chassis repair. I don't know why I didn't show you. It's a piece of steel that I keyed back the plastic behind it. I glued the part that had broken back on, but that was going to be weak. What was I going to say? Glued that piece of steel in with epoxy, gave it a bit of satin black, and it's good to go. The other things were, the other problems, I guess, were the rear suspension. It's just got front shocks, so it's obviously not up to task. But look, for what it is, which is a broken gearbox and a whole lot of trash, well, it turned out very well. I couldn't be happier with it. The good one out of the garage bangers is this one, which is very incomplete. I need a set of, well, maybe rear shocks, because I'll put the front shocks from that onto this one here, and a gearbox casing, and wheels and tyres, I think. That's about it. And that one, and I'll clean all that stuff up and it'll look really good. So I hope you've enjoyed that. It's something different. if you hang around in the titles, I'll get you up to speed with what's going on with the rest of the cars. Well, I hope you didn't mind that RC derived video. I wanted to talk to you about plating. I've had a bunch of plating done, and traditionally I buy this copper wire from Bunnings, and it's quite thick and very hard to get around and find a fasteners. This stuff here is just from the reject shop. We got silver and gold wire. It's $3 for 8 meters. I haven't tried the gold. I did scrape it back to see what it was. I thought it was copper underneath. It looks like brass, but I would have thought brass would be quite brittle at that thickness, but there you go. I don't know. But this stuff, this silver stuff, it doesn't break like copper if you're harsh with it. It's this is all the play though. It came off, you know, in a condition that you could probably even reuse. Now, this is a cheaper way of going. They're both electrically conductive. I'm tipping that'll be alright, but I know that is, and it's a really, really cheap way to do it. Now, this is a mishmash of a whole lot of stuff. XC Falcon headlight parts. They're the sockets that have a spring on them to go into to hold the halogen bulbs in. There's EJ Holden bits, Plymouth door springs and all that sort of stuff. And I had all this stuff done in gold, but most importantly, all the body mount stuff, which is pitted, but it doesn't matter. It'll give it some sort of corrosion resistance, which I'm really happy with. So I had all of the Plymouth stuff. The occasional, like the specialist bolt for the mounts that are inside the car. I had them done as well. I don't want any corrosion. End of the day, the thing's not even going to get wet. EJ Holden distributor parts for the second distributor. That's the little lubricator thing with the cap on it for the shaft on the Busy. You know, all sorts of stuff. Now, some stuff like this was very pitted, and it's also got black paint. That doesn't look too good. I'd be inclined, that's just a 3/8 fine, to stick a new bolt in for that one. But the rest of it turned out really, really good. These are the springs that go behind, I think, behind the door trim or whatever. I've got to sort of figure out what they are. But really happy with how this stuff turned out. Look at it. Now, because I string my own stuff, this stuff was $50. That's a bumper mount. You can see that 2-pack stuff stays there, but you can get it off. So that was done as well. The rest of the fasteners, of course, we're putting new fasteners in, but I am reusing these washers because they're the right thickness, and I couldn't replace them very easily. So all that stuff's coming up in the next video, I'd imagine, because I want to get in as soon as the weather calms down. It's calm at the moment, but it's the middle of the night, so as soon as the weather calms down, you know, I can move on with that stuff, and I will reuse that wire. I mean, why not? The second thing is I want to say thanks so much to Addison. Addison's the gent that donated 2 Thompson power steering pumps. Of course, he went to the wreckers, found a really good wheel cover, no gravel rush at all, and I've got that paint somewhere on here. I can lick over that, keep back and lick over it, clean it up, and that will come up legitimately like brand new. The other thing he did, of course, was this Corolla has a non-genuine driver's mirror, and that's a proper Toyota one. And the one that's in the car now has a sort of a weird sort of shimmer in it around here somewhere. The glass isn't perfectly flat. That's in mica green, the right colour for the car, so I've just got to swap that over. The next thing, getting back onto this car, I didn't show you, or at least I couldn't show you too well, the repair. There's the repair there. And I've ramped that piece of steel. It's just, what is it, 0.8 sheet stock. I've ramped it up to the top there, where the fastener is, down. It was just sort of like this little plastic protrusion that supported it. It was no good. So that's all epoxied in and a bit of satin on it. And I don't know if you can see. I hope you can see that. it's worked very, very well. Because it was fairly rough with the car, but it needs to be sort of semi-robust. And I think that's a good modification. In fact, if you didn't care about originality, it would probably be a good modification to do on any of them. So, with that being said, let me know if you haven't minded watching this sort of stuff. I like variety. That's why I did electrical appliances, fans, and lawn mowers, and cars, and motorcycles, all this sort of stuff. People sort of look at my channel as just being cars, but of course it isn't. It's a bit of everything, depending on what the mood dictates. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. Take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon. What do you reckon? Shit. Move. Move, cat. Move. Move. Come on. Off you go.